You'll flip, but that milk you chug every morning is packed with up to 400,000 pus cells per liter, blood traces, and antibiotics. And get this, that shit's totally legal. They call them somatic cells in the US and Europe, but really, it's just straight up pus from inflamed udders of cows getting milked to hell and back. A modern dairy cow is just a damn biological machine, squeezed dry like a lemon. Instead of a natural 5 or 6 liters a day, she's pumping out 30 to 40 liters of milk. Her udders are constantly inflamed, cracked, and bleeding, and all that shit goes straight into your glass because you can't filter that garbage out completely. Pasteurization kills the bacteria, but dead pus cells, blood bits, and antibiotic residue, they're in your milk forever. The FDA allows up to 750,000 somatic cells per milliliter. That's roughly a fucking teaspoon of pus per liter of milk you pour into your coffee. And they call that a normal product because that's just how industrial farming rolls. All they care about is cows cranking out more milk, not being healthy. Dude, this shit's wild, but your milk is basically loaded with antibiotics that make bacteria in your body immune to actual treatment. Farms constantly pump cows full of antibiotics cause in those cramped, shitty conditions, they get mastitis nonstop, no joke. Mastitis is when the udder gets inflamed and turns the milk into pus soup. So without antibiotics, farmers can't sell anything. They're supposed to quarantine cows after treatment, but most don't give a fuck, cause every day without milking is money down the drain. So you end up with traces of tetracycline, penicillin, and whatever else in your milk every time you drink it or eat yogurt. Regular tiny doses of antibiotics make your gut bacteria resistant to real treatment. And when you actually need antibiotics to save your ass, they might just not work. The WHO literally calls this one of the biggest threats to human health, but the dairy industry keeps doing the same old shit cause changing the system costs way too much money. Dude, this is absolutely wild, but milk is loaded with growth hormones that make cows produce 6 times more milk than nature intended. The US still allows synthetic hormone RBGH, which they literally inject into cows to squeeze out maximum output. It's basically doping for animals. This hormone boosts milk production by 10 to 15%, but it cranks up IGF-1 levels, an insulin-like growth factor linked to breast and prostate cancer. Europe banned RBGH back in the 90s, but America still uses it and sells that milk worldwide without blinking. Even without synthetic hormones, milk's packed with natural estrogen and progesterone because they milk cows while they're pregnant, when hormone levels are through the roof. Your body's getting a cocktail of foreign hormones every time you eat cheese or drink milk, and it totally messes with your hormonal balance, especially in kids going through puberty. Some studies link early puberty in girls to dairy consumption, but the industry just ignores that shit and keeps pumping hormones into cows anyway. I literally lost it when I found out milk's often got blood in it, and they just mix it with normal milk to even out the color. When udders get fucked up from constant milking, blood gets into the milk sometimes so much it turns pink or straight up red. They call that pink milk or bloody milk, and technically you're not supposed to sell it, but in reality they just dump it into massive tanks with regular milk until the color turns white again. Pasteurization kills bacteria, but it doesn't get rid of blood proteins, enzymes, and all the other shit that stays in your milk carton forever. In the US, they allow a certain amount of blood in milk under quality standards, and they consider it technically unavoidable in industrial production. Think about it, they milk cows 3 times a day with machines, the udders are constantly under pressure, skin cracks, teats bleed, and all that shit goes into the same tank as the milk. Filtration tech removes the big chunks, but microscopic blood components slip right through and stay in the product you're buying at the store. This shit is absolutely insane, but Big Dairy hides everything behind those bullshit commercials with happy cows grazing on green fields. The reality of modern dairy farms is massive warehouses with thousands of cows that never see grass, standing their whole lives in stalls on concrete floors. They feed them genetically modified corn instead of grass because it's cheaper, even though cow stomachs literally can't digest grain properly. This diet destroys them. They get acidosis, bloating, ulcers, and need constant shots of antibiotics and painkillers just to function. Average dairy cows live only 4 to 5 years instead of their natural 20 because their bodies just burn out from the stress and disease. When a cow stops producing enough milk, they send her to the slaughterhouse and turn her into cheap burger meat and animal feed. If you're sick of this crap, switch to plant-based milk or find some local pasture-raised stuff. But honestly, there's no real guarantees. It's just smaller-scale bullshit. The dairy industry is a massive operation, with billions in lobbying power blocking any real standards or honest conversations about what actually happens behind closed farm doors.